Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I'm going to do a quick review of the Nintendo 2DS. This is the original Nintendo 2DS, released in 2013, just 2 years after the original 3DS, and it features pretty much the same specs. It's got the same dual-core processor, 128 meg of system RAM, 6 meg of video RAM, and it's got the same size screens, but it features a completely different design. So it's gone for this wedge, sort of doorstop kind of look to it, and being a 2DS, it lacks the 3D function, which was done because the 3D function wasn't recommended for children under the age of 7, so Nintendo decided to bring out a sort of child-friendly DS and change the design altogether while they were doing it. And it kind of reminds me of the original Game Boy or the Game Boy Color. It's got that sort of solid feel to it, and it was met with a lot of criticism and a lot of ridicule. A lot of reviewers didn't like the design of it, and yeah, I can see why. It looks a bit weird, but when you get it in your hand and when you start playing games on it, it just feels so natural. I have played on DS's for the last 18 years. Original DS's, DS Lites, 3DS's, all with the clamshell design, and it's what I'm used to. But when I picked up this and started playing it, and even if you just hold it in your hand, it just feels super natural to play. These lovely big L&R shoulder buttons fit superbly under your fingers, and everything else is just in perfect reach. So I bought this one from a friend. It's already got custom firmware installed. It is a great console just to play regular 3DS and DS games on, never mind opening it up with custom firmware. That's fantastic, and it really just is a weird console to look at, but fantastic to play. As you can see, you've got your shoulder buttons there, charging port on the top, card slot on the other side, you've got your volume switch, and on then this side, on the opposite side, you have your stylus and your SD flap. Now, this was supposed to be like the budget version of a 3DS, so its retail price I think was about $129, and it dropped to about $79, $89 when new. I don't get the impression that this is a cheap console. It's got excellent build quality, there's not any flex in it at all, and it just seems premium compared to the original 3DS, which I think is an absolutely rock solid console. I was expecting something with a little less build quality. I've also had a new 2DS XL, which is the newer version of Nintendo's budget friendly console, and build quality on that was awful. It just felt cheap and it felt like it was a budget console. This, I don't get that at all. It really just seems like a premium console designed at a different market, so children or those that weren't keen on the clamshell design, or those that weren't interested in the 3D and didn't fancy spending a fortune on a 3DS. I've considered buying a Nintendo 2DS to add to my collection for quite some time. I was just waiting for sort of the right price to come up because I wasn't in any major hurry, and I did quite fancy this white and red version. It looks a lot better than the black and blue that you can also get, and I was just going to buy it just to add into my collection. I really couldn't see myself using it because I've got plenty of other DS consoles. I've got my original 3DS, I've got my new 3DS XL, and then I've got DS Lites, DSIs, but I really do like the design of it. And if you are looking for a console to play DS games on, this would be great. They don't use the 3D, and if you're not interested in the 3D, then this would be superb to play 3DS games on, because it will play all 3DS games. There are a few games that really take advantage of the 3D, such as Super Mario 3D Land. That doesn't mean it won't play on here. I think I even have it on here. But the majority of 3DS games really didn't take advantage of the 3D, and a lot of people thought it was a bit gimmicky. Obviously, the only pitfall you have of it is that it's a wide open console. With something like the 3DS, you can protect it. Protect the screens by closing it. You don't get that with this, and that was a common complaint. The screens are very easy to scratch because it's wide open, but buy a little slipcase and that would solve that problem. Because there is no clamshell design, the actual two screens are one screen, so the panel underneath the case in here is just one giant panel for two screens, meaning if you broke the bottom screen, you would have to replace the whole thing. Because there's no clamshell, there's no way of putting the machine to sleep just by closing the lid. So you've got a little sleep button on the front here, which puts the machine to sleep, and sliding it back brings it awake again. All the other DS's just go to sleep by closing the lid, but you don't have that option. So that's my quick look at a 2DS. This is 2022, so we're talking a 9-year-old console, a 9-year-old budget console, which didn't feel like a budget console. This is, well, I can just see myself playing it more than I thought I was gonna. It's gonna be one of my go-to consoles, and other than my new 3DS XL, which has all the bells and whistles of everything, the 2DS is going to be the console I play other than that. It's probably going to take the place of my DS Lite and my DSi and my original 3DS, just because of the design and how comfortable it is to play. That's enough waffling from me. So that is the original 2DS. Fantastic console, highly recommended. If you are looking for something budget, I mean, these are absolutely dirt cheap these days, and they will play all DS and 3DS games perfectly well. And the design of the console is just a stroke of genius from Nintendo. It just brings back that old school Game Boy feel, and I love it. So, original 2DS, fantastic. Let me know what you think. Have you got one? Do you really like it? Do you like the design of it, or do you think it's a bit weird? Or did you prefer to go for something with the 3D function? Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.